Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at something that a lot of people anticipated to see on this channel, but also really were looking forward to. We're going to take a look at the top 10 buzz for the Open Great League for the upcoming season. We already made a video earlier for the top 10 nerfs of the season, so definitely check it out. Going to be linked in the end card as well of this video, so stay tuned till then. But otherwise, we're going to take a look today at the top 10 buzz. Before we're going to do that though, we're going to have to also take a little bit of a note here. We don't know all the energy stats for all the moves yet. For example, Astonish would be a fairly decent fast move. It would be either 14 or 15 energy generation, which most people expect is 13 energy generation, which would be a Snarl clone, which would make the move kinda useless, to be fair, for most Pokemon, sadly. Then we're going to not really know the energy of Dig, which is most likely 50 energy. This is the only thing that really makes sense for it. Otherwise, it would be either too strong or too weak. So I would expect at least 50. And for Aerial Ace, I hear some sources saying it's going to be 35, but then I also saw people saying it's 40. So we're just gonna go for 40 energy for this video, just so it's basically the lower one. So if you see something with Aerial Ace and it's going to be 35 energy later on, then you're going to know that this Pokemon is even more broken than it is right now. But yeah, that's going to be it for the beginning here. Let's take a look now at the rank number 10 for today, which is going to be Swalot. This Pokemon is going to be insanely strong for especially those limited metas. As you're going to see here right now beforehand, we had Infestation, Sludge Bomb, Ice Beam. This Pokemon won 9 matchups, was horrific, not really a Pokemon that a lot of people would love to play. And now let's take a look at with Mudshot, and we're going to see here one shield scenario as always. We're going to see that this Pokemon all of a sudden wins 15 more matchups. This is absolutely wild, and there are a lot of the meta ones that you're going to win. There are a lot of like flying type Pokemon that you're going to win thanks to Ice Beam. Sludge Bomb is great coverage in the current meta. You're not going to dominate anything, as you can see here right now, but you're going to be super good in like those narrow matchups as well with this Pokemon. And it's going to be one of the coolest one to build or like use for the limited metas, especially as Sludge Bomb is not only the only damaging move that it has also has Gang Shot, which might be even interesting for this Pokemon because this Pokemon has an insanely decent bulk stat. So I could even imagine that we see some nuke plays on this Pokemon as well, which would be very cool to see with now Mudshot as an energy generating move. Let's take a look at the next Pokemon. Honestly, most likely my favorite one of them all. I'm not sure. Like, there's a different one which is also one of my favorites, but it's not in this video because it's not really that decent. But Heliolisk getting Breaking Swipe. You looked at the Heliolisk and were like, yeah, okay, this Pokemon is really underwhelming. Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, and Grass Knot, nothing that really gets to the charge moves very fast. Grass Knot is nice coverage, but we're actually going to give the coverage up here with the Heliolisk, and we're gonna put on the Breaking Swipe. And this Pokemon is insanely meta right now. This is going to be super strong on this Pokemon. Breaking Swipe is the strongest charge move in the game in my opinion. Maybe I'll make a charge move tier list as well soon. But yeah, Heliolisk with Volt Switch, Breaking Swipe, Thunderbolt going to be super nice. You could even argue for going for Grass Knot, allowing you to destroy also Pokemon like Swampert with this Pokemon. But actually I think Breaking Swipe, Volt Switch already going to give you great coverage against most Pokemon. And yeah, what can I say? This Pokemon going to be very decent. But there's a different Pokemon which is going to completely shut it down, which is not going to be the next one. The next one going to be Mantine, which completely gets destroyed by Heliolisk. But now we're going to have the 5 less energy onto the Aerial Ace. And beforehand, you were running Bubble Beam, a move that's going to do basically no damage but can debuff the opponent's attack guaranteed. For also, as far as I know, 40 energy. So it was the cheapest move for Mantine to get to, which was very nice to... Actually might be 35, but definitely the cheapest fast charge move to get to for the Mantine. And so it was like the standard moveset on this Pokemon. Ice Beam was the only really decent damaging move, and now where the Aerial Ace got a little bit buffed, we're going to see a general buff on this Pokemon. And there are actually quite a lot of matchups where this comes in handy, and in general, it's just going to be a little bit more consistent, because this is the thing. In the 2-shield scenario, this moveset is actually a little bit worse, because they always beat with Bubble Beam. Going to have the attack drop onto the opponent is nice, but this is just completely consistent. Aerial Ace just does always the damage that Aerial Ace is going to do, while Bubble Beam can get the drop from the attack, but the opponent can just swap out and the attack drop is gone. So for this Pokemon right now, it's making it way more consistent, giving it also better coverage, for example, against something like Pelipper or Sableye or Frostless, especially Frostless, where like Ice Beam would be resisted. So right now, this is going to be a great upgrade for this one. You're gonna get there after 5 wing attacks to the Aerial Ace for sure, no matter what the change is going to be. So yeah, this is going to be a very cool Pokemon. Going to be definitely a better flying type, for example, than Noctowl now, which you might have seen already in the video earlier, where I looked at the nerfs for this season. But here we're going to now have the next Pokemon going to be Diggersby. This is going to be an interesting one. You're going to see here the Mudshot variant first, or like in general right now on the screen, but I'm fairly certain that we might see a shift towards the other fast move of Quick Attack for this Pokemon with the move Scorching Sands. Why? Scorching Sands is an 80 damage move for 50 80 damage? Yeah, 80 damage for 50 energy, which also has a 30% chance to drop the opponent's attack, which is fairly important to get this drop. If you get this drop, it makes this move so much better. But we're just going to assume that we don't get the drop. So it's still a little bit weaker than, for example, an Earthquake, which is now after the nerf, 65 energy for 110 damage. So yeah, like you're kind of still going to do more damage with the with the Earthquake compared to the Scorching Sands, but you're going to get there way faster. And with Quick Attack, which is going to do way more damage than Mudshot, you might actually want to go for the Quick Attack, which generates energy a little bit slower, but with like basically in combination with Scorching Sands, I'm fairly certain it's going to be a very good move for this. I'm fairly certain that we're going to see Diggersby a little bit more often anyway, especially with having now the Steelix around, which you're going to take a look at later as well. But now we're going to take a look at the next one. This is most likely the new Noctowl. I'm fairly certain most people are going to play Mandibuzz for the upcoming season, because if you see here Aerial Ace Old and Aerial Ace New, you're going to see just a little bit of a shift. It's going to be an average rating of 5 more there, but this is with Foul Play. If you take a look at Dark Pulse, which I didn't put in here right now, but Dark Pulse is going to be way better now on this Pokemon. Beforehand, you were always kind of choosing between Foul Play and Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse is 5 more energy than Foul Play, does I think 10 more damage than Foul Play. But it's not the best move either, but it's going to be a little bit of a better one now, because now you're going to have a bait move for it, which was beforehand the Foul Play, which was the cheapest move to get to for the Mandibuzz. But now Aerial is going to be cheaper than Foul Play, while still doing some decent damage at least. So going for the Dark Pulse is going to be way better now, most likely than the Foul Play. So moveset most likely is now Aerial Ace as well as Dark Pulse going to be the best one for Mandibuzz. Going to be the new Noctowl, has insane stats, is even bulkier than the Noctowl in terms of the stats. So definitely try to trade one for this, because you can only really get decent IVs for this while trading. So yeah, definitely good Pokemon. Next Pokemon, also something that I actually really look forward to, kinda not, because this Pokemon is going to get Mudshot now, and compared to Bullet Seed, you're going to see already an increase by quite a decent average rating there. You don't really win a matchup here extra. You're actually going to win some more matchups extra actually, but you're also going to lose some. For example, here you're going to be able to win in the one-shot scenario against Registeel as well as Bastiodon, which is kind of wild. Most likely also with like some debuffs of Crunch. But the thing is, for this Pokemon, you're going to also lose a little bit more potential against like some water-type Pokemon, because of course, Bullet Seed was double super effective against the Swampert, which actually made a big difference, and like single super effective against something like a Dugong. And so you're going to win some more, you're going to lose some different ones with this, but in general, it's going to be a great upgrade. Just getting to Body Slam after 4 fast moves, aka 8 turns, aka 4 seconds, is kind of wild, especially as also Crunch is only 5 fast moves. So this Pokemon going to be insane, really strong one. Definitely something that's also going to be overpowered in the Ultra League especially, but we're only going to take a look at the Great League today. Maybe I'm going to make another video for the Ultra League as well. But let's take a look at the next Pokemon coming up. Going to be Hitmontop with Triple Axle, going to be a better coverage move than Stone Edge. Triple Axle going to allow you to get to, like, in general, to the move. I think it's the same energy as Close Combat, so you're going to get there at the same time for it, but you're going to just be able to get the attack buff onto your Hitmontop, which is going to be insanely strong, especially as a Shadow Pokemon. But the issue for this Pokemon, sadly, is while it is very cool, and while I would expect that we're going to see this, especially in some limited cups, a little bit more often, you are still going to have Medicham around, and Medicham is not going to go anywhere, and Medicham is going to be always the best fighting type Pokemon for the meta, so this is why Hitmontop is a little bit lower on the list. I really like the upgrade though, it's definitely the best Pokemon for Triple Axle so far, but let's take a look at most likely one of the best ones as well here right now, Volt Switch on Magnezone. This is a huge upgrade. This is already with the Spark nerf, which I think I put 6 and 6 in there this time around, just because I hope this is going to be it, but for Volt Switch, I mean, look at this. You're going to win all of a sudden so many more matchups. You have an insane average rating. The thing with Magnezone though is, you're squishy, which is always kind of decent for Pokemon because I don't really like the bulky Pokemon. You're a core breaker for a lot of Pokemon, especially as Galarian Stunfisk is going to be less common now after the Earthquake nerf. It's going to be so nice. Like, this Pokemon going to be decent in every single league. Even in the Open Master League, I think it has some potential. So you're going to see this most likely quite often. Mirror Shot plus Volt Switch already going to do a ton of damage, and Wild Shot just is nuke still. This Pokemon going to be a monster, especially Ultra League going to be the way where it shines the most, but otherwise still going to be insane. And we don't have the number 1 for Steelix, even though Steelix maybe deserves the number 1 right now. But as you're going to see right now, the standard moveset here, at least what PvPoke says, was Earthquake, Psychic Fangs as well as Dragon Tail. I actually thought people would more likely run Crunch. But now we're going to change the Breaking Swipe, and instead of, for example, the Psychic Fangs there, and you're going to see right now an increase by 7 more wins, even though we already were at 24 wins out of like the 43 matchups here in total. So you're going to see right now that Breaking Swipe going to do so much for this Pokemon. Going to be way better than the Psychic Fangs, going to allow the opponent to not do as much damage against you, allowing you to stay longer on the field, which is going to be so beneficial for the Dragon Tail damage. This Pokemon is insane. Of course, there are some answers for it, like the Registeel, for example, which is still going to be better than this. But honestly, it's going to be one of the Pokemon that you're going to see all the time. You need to prepare for this Pokemon. I'm fairly certain that this Pokemon going to be one of the strongest Pokemon ever for Go Battle League, and I don't think it was a decent idea to go for a Breaking Swipe on it, because it's like so strong and kind of forces more Medichamps as well. But now, we're gonna go ahead and go to the final one, which is going to be Gligar. Something that got to rank 4 in PvPoke. PvPoke just sent basically posted on Twitter, or like now X, some ratings for the upcoming season, which are not final, of course, because we don't know all the moves changes yet. And Gligar landed on rank 4 in PvPoke as a Shadow variant with Aerial Ace as well as the Dig buff. And yeah, as you can see here with the old variants of it, of course you weren't really running this moveset at all, you were running Night Slash as well as Return, but still, you're going to see the difference here. It's wild. Like, this Pokemon is going to be so good, especially if you see which Pokemon is going to beat, because you're going to be able to beat Carbink, you're going to be able to beat Registeel, you're going to be able to beat Medicham, even though it's a little bit trickier against Medicham because of Ice Punch, but this Pokemon is going to be so strong. It's going to be most likely the best upgrade in general. But even though this is basically on PvPoke, the highest one of the new Pokemon, fairly certain that Steelix is going to be a little bit better still. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.